What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Vanilla Soup, and today we're going to be talking about my experience with Project xCloud so far. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know that I have been enamored with the prospect of xCloud and a beefy Xbox game streaming service for quite some time now. The idea of picking up my mobile device and running a voyage in Sea of Thieves on the train, or progressing through the story of Halo or Gears, just seems really cool and too good to be true to me. Well, this last 2 weeks, I have had the privilege of being a part of the early access beta testing for Project xCloud, so I would like to take this opportunity to share with you my experience with xCloud so far. And please keep in mind that this is all my experience, and the footage shown is all authentically caught from my smartphone. So this is raw footage of what I saw as I played. So if you see any sort of frame dipping or loss in resolution, that's not you, that is the screen that I am capturing from and how I see it. Your experience depending on your area may be better. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, and my nearest Azure data center appears to be located in Wyoming. Also, my mobile data provider is Verizon with 4G LTE, and I have a 150 megabit per second plan with Xfinity. So depending on your internet service providers, your mileage may vary. This raises the first point I want to address and my biggest concern with the platform as a whole, and probably the biggest hindrance to Xbox game streaming: internet service providers. When the trial first started, it was in the middle of October, and my data usage was fairly average. However, after playing my Xbox games via streaming after a couple sessions here and there, I noticed a significant decrease in stream quality and a severe increase in latency. This was the biggest problem, of course, when I was out and about. One of the areas I wanted to take xCloud the most was on the train during my commute, or even a long car ride. But due to my network cutting my speed with how much data I was seemingly using, it just got worse and worse. Which leads me to one of the strongest usages of xCloud. That is when you're playing xCloud around the house. Right now, this is the best look at what xCloud could be when it fully launches. Gameplay is really smooth when it's connected to nearby Wi-Fi, and it's just a really good experience. It was also higher in resolution in my experience, with minimal loss in fidelity. Remember, this is all in the early public beta, so I would imagine that some things are guaranteed to improve as Project xCloud progresses. And I know this is off to the side a little bit, but one of my favorite features of this public trial is the tabs for feedback front and center. I feel like this is a good resource to make sure your voice is heard if you are in the beta, and to know that someone is receiving your thoughts on the service, so that way you can give direct feedback. At least, that's the hope, right? There are some more minor things I want to bring up as well. For example, sometimes the right side of my controller just simply wouldn't be recognized and failed to put forth any sort of input, which for a game that involves you turning, jumping, and shooting, you can see why this would be pretty hard. I say this is minor because I've only ran into it 1 or 2 times, and a reset or a controller reconnect usually does the trick to fix this. So I'm sure this is something that they can fix to where this is never an issue. Weirdly enough, it never happened in game menus, only when I was actually in a game session. Another thing I noticed is what I'm calling the VHS effect. Sometimes the game struggles to keep up, and when there's a second of stutter, it almost resets the whole screen by a line coming down and wiping away the lower quality image to try and replace it with a better one. This will happen in dips and in spikes in resolution, rather than a more seamless dynamic resolution like we've seen before on Xbox. Right now, there are 4 games playable on the demo: Gears 5, Halo 5, Killer Instinct, and Sea of Thieves. All games had their share of individual strengths and weaknesses on this service. Gears 5 was by far the best experience I personally had in this trial. I don't know what it was, but even when I was playing online at my university waiting for class to start, the game ran really well and the stream quality was very consistent. Sure, there was some problems here and there where the game tried to catch up with all my inputs that were being missed at once and I died immediately, but that is to be expected in a trial. Halo 5 was an experience I couldn't recommend online at all. Whether it was the constant dip in frame rate or a loss in resolution, the stream couldn't keep online in the slightest. The campaign was similar to that of what I experienced with the Gears 5 story. A nice controlled environment of a story mission is where this service truly shines. But again, much like Gears 5, there were moments where your inputs just clearly weren't picked up, making finely placed headshots an unreachable dream. Which brings us to the games where the service struggles the most, with Killer Instinct and Sea of Thieves. First with Killer Instinct, I can't really show you much footage because, well, I rarely got into the game. I successfully played against a bot only a couple times, but when I did, the latency seemed to be relatively low. But man, oh man, I can't even tell what's going on here. Can you? This is footage from my gameplay. I didn't know what to do. Like, my inputs were being received, but I couldn't see them because the resolution was just so low, and it kept refreshing the stream to try and get that image back. It was just an overall mess in this game, which leaves Sea of Thieves. I love me some pirating, but I cannot recommend trying to play this game on the go. With the world being as big as it is, and with how many variables there are, it's really hard to play this for the period required for a voyage. The latency won't allow you to turn the tight corners of a ship efficiently, or to block a sword in time to parry, but guess what? Latency doesn't wait for you. It's always ready to blow you up with some lightning. I don't mean to sound like I'm being too negative on this service, but I really want to give you guys an appropriate look at what this service is like. And for me being excited mostly to play Sea of Thieves on the go, I was so disappointed with what is actually able to be done on this service. When xCloud works, it works really well, and it's a great time. When it doesn't, it makes you think about how far off we really are. And with Google Stadia coming straight to launch in less than a month, I really wonder if this game streaming service can really be what these companies envision it to be. My verdict so far is that I'm very doubtful of xCloud now. Where I went into full of hope and high heaven dreams, I'm just not sold on it anymore. I'm sure they can improve a lot of these issues at launch, but how much can they really improve when the internet service providers are in the way? And with the player's desire to have their inputs read accurately and immediately, like most of us are used to on a console, this seems way more far out than I even could have anticipated. I have my Switch for portable gaming, and as someone who wanted Xbox to at least get somewhat into the mobile market, I'm left wanting way more. I really will probably just be sticking to my Switch for portable gaming. I just don't see xCloud being a viable option as it stands. Again, this is a early access beta, a public trial, so things can change and things could be worked out and they can fix this and make it a solid product. And I hope they do. Don't get me wrong, I want success for this product. I want xCloud to be everything they promise, but right now I just don't see that happening. The only way I do see this happening is with 5G fastly approaching, so maybe that's the answer to a lot of the problems here. But we'll have to see how expensive that will be, with the internet service providers inevitably gouging customers for wanting to stream 1080p or 4K games on their phones, tablets, or even a TV at their friend's house. Well, that's about it for me today, guys. Did any of you get into the beta? And if so, what did you think? I'd really like to know, so leave those comments in the comment section down below. And if you haven't, just let me know what your concerns are. Are they lining up with mine? Just let me know all of that in the comment section down below. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed this information. As you know, it helps out a lot. And until next time, Vanilla Soup out.